This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Time restraints, a 30-minute time limit.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Marks on Commentary. I'm Jason Smith.
And I'm Eddie Brophy.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
We are Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy with Jason Smith. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
We've had to go on somewhat of a brief hiatus, I guess what we'd call it, because I was going to say we're living the nightmare. I'm actually living the nightmare, Jason.
Yeah.
There's a reason why in the first couple of shows Jason said, oh, you got to use that line. You're Eddie Brophy, so, they don't have to be. There's a reason why I came up with that line.
I just thought it was a nice tagline, but
well, Jason,
do explain.
Well, Jason, I obviously we're Marks, but Jason has an apartment and a fiance. We lost our studio, but if we did the show in Jason's apartment, it's not as Mark-ish because Jason is not Eddie. Eddie is 25, lives at home, works 2 jobs, and has a dad with cancer, which means that when we go to do these podcasts, my dad sleeps a lot. So we started to do this one show, and my mom right knocked on my door about 4 or 5 times, and fuck you, this is humiliating to admit, but this is my life, and asked if I would keep it down. Mind you, I'm 25. I'm 25 years old, and I still have a curfew. So I'm just giving all of you a brief background on what happened to Marks on Commentary. I brofied it, is what I did, essentially. So I am that guy. I am the real Mark of Marks on Commentary, because if we had a basement, I'd be living in it, and it would belong to Mom, but I do have my own car, if that counts for anything, and I work.
That's good. That counts.
Shut up. So anyway, back to the relevant stuff, the actual stuff, and not the... Eddie does a podcast and rants about why his life sucks. So the other thing that was kind of nice, though, is because there wasn't really a lot going on. So much that Jay has been pulling for me to play this clip. It was from a John Cena interview with Howard Stern. When was this?
Yeah.
Around 2000?
He talks about that first terrible movie he did, I think, 2006, maybe? It was very early on. He hadn't come into the 5 moves of doom fully yet, but... he still kind of had some marks on his side, but this is the tail end of that. Well,
this is definitely more characteristic of the John Cena that we all liked, because this sounds more like the real John Cena, not the Fruity Pebble, like Hulk Hogan, eat your vitamins John Cena.
Let's raise money. And that stuff's great, don't get me wrong, but I don't need it shoved down my throats in a video package every Monday night.
Well, let's give our listeners a clip of the real John Cena.
Yes.
If John Cena did turn heel and not, literally turn his heel, this would be a Cena I could get behind.
Believe it or not, best night of my life was in a small, just ratty strip club in Louisville, Kentucky, where 2 young ladies went home with me. And
were they strippers?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, they're the best, huh?
They are the best.
Because
they know, yeah, exactly. They know the entertainment aspect of it. They make it entertaining.
Why were they so good? What did they do? Like they got
just I got the experience. It was a very entertaining experience. Everything was there. It was the stuff that you see.
Blowjobs, anal.
For me, I don't go in the back door.
You don't.
That's the one thing I don't do.
That's where me and John Cena agree. I don't go in the back door. But I like the fact that John Cena admitted to everything but anal.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes me want to come up with a segment, almost like kind of a game show, is what is it like in the John Cena bedroom, in the master bedroom of Castle de Cena? What is it that really gets his rocks off? I mean, does he wear the armbands? Does he wear the hat? Does he wear the color? Does he color coordinate depending on what they're going to do?
I don't know. Supposedly his fugly wife couldn't handle it because I don't know if you saw the rumor that he was dating or fucked around with a porn star or whatever, but...
but that's the sort of thing, like, in wrestling nowadays, in the TV PG era of wrestling, they make that sound like it's a source of shame and humiliation. But back in the 80s, like, that was the thing. I mean, if not, I hate this term. I know Mark Madden uses it all the time. Fake wrestler. But when you're a fake wrestler and you're pulling more ass than, say, Gene Simmons, there's something to be said about that. Although now I'm getting these really, like, eerie sort of, like, flashes in my head of Ultimate Warrior engaging in sex acts with the tassels and the face paint and doing it.
Right. Something similar to that. That's my Ultimate Warrior sex sound.
There are some things that can't be unseen, even though if you just completely made them up in your own head. I mean, even just Hulk Hogan. I remember watching an A&E biography where he was explaining how basically his pickup line with his now ex-wife was, "You want to wear my championship belt?" Like, I don't want this show to be about the sexual fetishism of pro wrestlers, but god damn it, one of these days we're gonna go there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure. China, X-Pac, they made a porn. I mean, I haven't seen it because I just feel like that's one of those things that can't be unseen. But we don't know what the relevance of that clip is, and not that it matters. Not
anytime we can trash John Cena a little bit, I'm all for it.
I can't trash him though because that's something to be I mean, this man walked into a strip club and walked out with 2 strippers.
No, not trash him, but if you go back and actually watch that interview, you see like a lot of phoniness that he's portraying now. Because like in the interview, the first thing he says is like, "Oh, I don't have any problem with Rock going to Hollywood." He had to do that. He had to separate himself. So that whole 2-year fucking storyline we had to sit through was really based on nothing. At least the core that I always thought was, okay, these guys generally don't hate each other.
Yeah.
Or generally hate each other, but.
No, I mean, that was kind of how I was feeling for a while, was that there was a genuine sort of, and not even maybe hatred, but almost maybe a little bit of animosity, jealousy, or just kind of, man, Rock sold out. Like, he turned his back on us. We're the boys. He turned his back on his boys. Like, he big-timed us, as Bostonians would say. He fucking big-timed us.
Big leagued.
Yeah, he big leagued us, son of a bitch, fucking dick. But I mean, it humanizes Cena because right now, again, going with the whole Super Cena thing, I appreciate Cena as a workhorse. I appreciate Cena as being, kind of a leader for the company. What I don't like is just be human. Like, it's not a Saturday. Wrestling is not the wrestling from the 80s. It's not a Saturday morning cartoon, and it's not like the wrestling of the 70s where it was, like, I don't know, gladiators. Like, I don't even really know what to call what wrestling is right now because it's still got all those elements of, the soap opera to it, but it doesn't have the pageantry anymore. And it doesn't have that sort of rock and roll, I don't want to say attitude era to it.
It's not the over-the-top stupid characters like the fucking gobbledygooker and shit, but it walks that line of childish and whatever, like attitude. Like, it's not quite attitude, it's not quite that childish PG era from 90 forward to 2006. 1996. But it's that somewhere gray period in between. Like, it's a new era. Well, obviously.
Well, speaking on behalf of a Saturday morning cartoon wrestling, I was reading earlier that apparently they haven't taped any more matches for the Saturday Morning Slam, which is on, the CW, like, little block of television for small children, and that the CW only, ordered a certain amount of episodes. I mean, there's been no announcement about canceling it, but if they do, good, because, again, this is... I can't imagine being a professional wrestler and being told, like, okay, well, you can't do any moves that involve the neck. It's Saturday morning, kids. I'd imagine a gifted athlete or a good enough wrestler could find ways around that. But I'd imagine when you're in the moment like that, because for the most part, yeah, it's choreographed, but they call that shit their spots all when they're doing it. Yeah. So it's a consciously like, okay, don't go for the neck. Don't armbar. Like, what do you keep doing? Like hip tosses. Like I've never watched it because I'm not up at that fucking hour. I'm at work or whatever, and I don't know. It just seems like that's got to be so stifling to those guys to like consciously just be like, okay, I can't fucking do this or that. Like, what the hell do we do?
I mean, is it even really necessary? Like, I get it, like, you need to protect kids, but if they're watching wrestling to begin with, I'm sure they're probably watching Monday Night. So who gives a shit, ultimately?
Well, that's the thing, too, that I remember I don't even want to say as a kid, like as a teenager, 12, 13, that used to bug me was I would watch Monday Night, and I would watch the Sunday pay-per-views, and I'd watch SmackDown on Thursdays, and, somebody gets busted open, you've already seen it, and then they would do that trick on Superstars or Live Wire, whatever, where they would black and white any spot where like someone was bleeding, and it was like, what are you shielding me from? Like I saw this already. I remember
seeing that the first time, being like, is my fucking TV broken? Like,
I know.
Or did somebody in the edit bay like screw up and put like a black and white filter on at the wrong time? Or
like I thought it was maybe like an Andy Kaufman trick. Like, it was one of those things to make us think our TV was fucked up when really it was like, you jackass, you think your TV's broken. Like, I get you know, especially, you know, with the Be a Star campaign and all this stuff geared toward kids. I think it's phenomenal to make a wish. Like, I was actually watching last night Daniel Bryan granting a wish to a child with brain cancer, and he brought Kane with him. And I'm like, wow, that's so fucking cool. And, you know, The Undertaker did a phenomenal one with this little girl, and it was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, Undertaker genuinely seems like a really down-to-earth, just nice, you know, gentle, like Texan. Like, he just seems, he has this big, scary motherfucker that has been terrifying most of us for years, and he's a guy. He's a normal guy. He's a normal down-to-earth. He's got kids, like, you know, he's just great. Like, that stuff I'm behind, but it's just, they already know. Like, if they watch the program, they already know. You don't have to overdo it. Like, just remind them, like, hey, don't be an asshole. Don't do this with your, although we all did anyway, but don't kill your friend. Don't kill your younger sibling. Just don't break anything. No broken bones. Like, don't take a fucking chair to their head. But sometimes I just think it's a little much with WWE, but all that, you know, smart marking aside, I suppose we should talk about some of the stuff going on. CM Punk, it's still ambiguous, but they're saying that they're pulling for him because June 16th Payback is in his home city. It's in Chicago, and they're hoping he'll be at the pay-per-view. My question is, when Punk comes back, where the hell do they put him? Like, where does
I
he fit
think
now?
he's got to go face now, because I don't know what are you gonna do unless you're planning for that John Cena Punk rematch right away. You ain't got any options.
Well, the problem there, though, is that they're both faces. Like, I realize, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, that everybody was rooting for Punk to win Money in the Bank because he was, as they call it, a tweener. Like, he was the bad guy, but we were rooting for him because he wasn't fucking John Cena. Like, anybody but John Cena. Oh, this guy, he's talking shit about his company, and he's legitimately on his way out. Awesome, I'm going for that guy because fucking I've worked so many shit jobs. Like, I wish I could, you know, talk to my boss like that. And it had that element of the whole stone cold, like, don't trust anyone. I don't give a fuck. Fire me. You can't fire me. I'm making you money. Like, I just got you the biggest buy rates of the year with this thing. So So it's like, if you have Cena and you have Punk coming back as a face, now you have face versus face, but there's nothing that kind of like, and I was all behind Punk and Taker because sadly, this is another thing I'll go into, but with Paul Bearer passing away, it made the storyline interesting because Punk had he could play psychological mind games now. He had the advantage. He had the whole, oh, your manager died. Well, guess what? I don't give a fuck, and I'm going to use it against you, which was awesome. It was so fucking awesome. Otherwise, Punk's a heel, but people are still cheering for him, so essentially it was like a tweener versus a face with nothing really on the line. Other than, we're still hoping Taker will lose his streak. He's not going to. He is not going to. I mean, we're at 21-0 now. It's like, what the fuck's the point?
Well, that raises the question: does it happen next year at 30? I mean, does anybody see anything besides John Cena and The Undertaker next year?
That's an interesting point because I know I was reading somewhere that Cena is basically at the top of the list now because now it's like, all right, fuck, what do? We backed ourselves into a corner. Rock hurt himself. I mean, he'll more than likely be back because it's in his blood, but it's not looking like, especially where Rock is a Hollywood heavyweight now. I mean, all his movies are going #1 at the box office. Like, Hollywood's not going to watch their investment get beat up in the ring if it's going to cost them, like in this case, like Rock was supposed to make all these appearances and he couldn't fucking make them because he was getting surgery done. That pisses them off, the P&R people, because they have to, we don't have our guy. We don't have our guy promoting our product because he's off with this other product. Fuck them. We need our investment back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially it's like, okay, well, Rock's completely out of the equation. Yeah, there's, rumors going around like, oh, Brock Rock, that would be amazing. But right now, what I read was the two top names are obviously Lesnar and Cena for Taker and the streak. And then it's like, those two matches on paper, much like Punk Taker, on paper seem like they'd be really awesome. But as we've learned from this past Mania, it only sounds good on paper. When you see it, it's kind of like, fuck, they got me again. So
I was wondering, do you think they'll go back-to-back like how they did Triple H and HBK? Because I really don't want to see that again. I mean, I loved it. It was the match of the night. But I feel like Punk needs to main event a WrestleMania now. And it's time for the Cena Undertaker. Something's got to give. That's, is it the fucking John Cena C-Nation, or is it time for the Undertaker to, cough up that WrestleMania loss? So.
But that's the thing, though. If he coughs it up to a guy like Cena, I mean, again, there would have to be something bigger than the two of those guys, which it would have to be Cena's, being a babyface versus Taker's career. It has reached the point now where either one guy has to do what the company's been for fucking, 7 years now, where he hasn't turned?
Nope.
Like, I mean, what are you going to do? It's either going to cost Taker his career, or it's going to cost, WWE their investment, which is good guy Cena.
The only thing I don't like about it is, obviously, I think Cena would probably win. I mean, Undertaker would probably win. That means, sorry, what am I saying? Cena would probably win, and that means that he's gotten 2 torches passed to him in less than 2 years.
Well, that's the other thing, too. He doesn't even need this torch. That's my big thing, is he doesn't need the torch. Like, really, I mean, Cena at this point can do anything. He's already done everything. He's been a World Heavyweight Champ, U.S. Champ, Tag Champ, WWE Champion. Like, he's the face of the company. Like, what more can you do with the guy that's interesting and innovative and different? Like, what the hell else can Cena really do to blow us all away? And honestly, short of becoming a bad guy, which at this point, if it happens, I almost kind of feel like it's too little too late. Like, you guys, you fucking sat around, you waited too long. You waited way too long for this thing to happen, and now it's like, if it happens, is anyone even going to give a shit?
Or is anybody even going to buy it and shit on him, not because he's a heel, but shit on him because they just don't want to fucking see that anymore?
At this point, I think you're going to see more people cheering for John Cena's retirement than cheering for his heel turn.
Well, I liked Ryback's mentality where more people are hoping that Cena gets hurt. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of, it doesn't, don't break your neck, but, a knee injury that puts you on the sidelines for 9 months, I couldn't oppose to it. It's, what would his quality of life be? Like, me and you, if we fucking, ripped our knee apart and had to spend 9 months on the shelf, that would be fucking earth-shattering for our lives.
Yeah.
Him, he'd go home to his palace and, get his porn star to suck him off for 9 months. And that's it. That's as bad as it gets for him. So I don't feel bad if he gets a leg injury.
Marks get angry. Well, because, if you really want to boil it down, that's really what it comes down to. What I think is interesting is that John Morrison recently did an interview with WWE.com, I think it was, and he kind of teased, I might return, but I'm not going to tell you that I might return. It's just going to happen. Like, he actually had a really good line. I forget what it was, but before you even know the thunder hit, before you even hear the thunder, the lightning already struck or something like that. It was something to that effect, and it was like, I'm still a John Morrison guy. Like, I actually really like John Morrison. As a character, it needed a lot of tweaking, and I think his promos needed work, but as an athlete and just as a guy that I just genuinely thought was entertaining to watch in the ring, I was all for John Morrison. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him back. What we tried to talk about on the show that never aired was Zack Ryder turning heel. At first, it seemed kind of like an exciting prospect when he put up that YouTube video and was like, fuck this, or I can't do this. Why am I doing this? But at the same time, it's like they haven't done anything with it, and at this point, who cares? Like, I
think it was him trying to get something going, and it's not even reacting. I mean, the biggest thing he's done is change his hair, and that's it.
You know what I'm going to do, and it's really going to blow people away? I'm not going to spike my hair. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grow my hair back. You're trying. You're really, really trying, and I appreciate that, but it's just not happening. And I mean, it's sad. There was an interview with Jake the Snake Roberts, and he basically says in the interview, Vince, you might as well sign me up for the Royal Rumble because one way or another, I'm going to get in that ring. I don't want to join the Vince Kiss Your Ass Club, but I'm humble. I just want to help wrestling. At this point, I would be more excited to see Jake the Snake come back from everything he's fucking gone through, enter in the Royal Rumble, and then mark the fuck out for this, geriatric wrestler who, did the rehab, cleaned himself up, and could still fucking hang with the younger. And that's one of those things that I hate being a wrestling fan for, is because I'm all for the new age. I want to see the younger guys, but if you're not doing anything with the younger guys, fine. Give me fucking Jake the Snake. Bring the bag out. Bring the fucking snake. Let's do this all over again. It's 1986. Let's do this again.
All right. You know what? Speaking of new wrestlers, I put it out there on the Marks on Commentary Twitter page. We got a question. I'm shocked, and we're gonna fucking look like terrible marks. A Twitter user, Jason Cassavant, if I'm pronouncing that right. When will Brian Watts from NXT, I imagine, get called up. I admittedly don't know who he is. I know he's I think he's RAS's kid. What the hell's his name? Or one of the Wyndham Rotundo is his name. So I don't know. I looked it up. I can hear you clicking. Are you looking him up?
I know. I'm sitting here with one eyebrow up and my other eye just being like, NXT, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot that was even a thing. I'm still holding out for Dean Ambrose, so that's like my markish. Like I'm a Dean Ambrose guy.
I don't know. I don't watch the show, admittedly. I've heard and seen like rumors. I mean, let me describe the guy for you. He's a little bit pudgy, and he wears like a Hawaiian shirt and like a, what do you call it? Like not a mesh hat, like a wicker hat almost, for lack of knowing what the fuck it's called.
Are we sure we're not talking about Carlito? Is Carlito making a comeback?
No. He's definitely not Carlito. He looks like the fucking Husky Harris, almost.
Whatever happened to that guy? I actually liked Husky Harris. What the fuck happened to him?
Beats me. I thought he'd get called up. Like, him and Ryback were one of the guys that I'm like, anytime now, they're getting called up and they're going to return. And nothing.
Well, Ryback came, and I'm already bored with him because he's Goldberg.
Skip Sheffield hasn't.
He's Goldberg. Yeah, let's get Skip Sheffield back.
That's next year WrestleMania. Skip Sheffield versus Ryback. Can the two exist in the same place?
Unmasked Kane versus Masked Kane. That's how we try to get viewers back into like, ooh, which one's the real one? I'm sure they could find a Ryback lookalike.
So
Skip Sheffield, Ryback, WrestleMania 30. I'm all for it. I'm in.
So if you want to ask us a question in the future, please try and keep it more WWE, even though NXT is WWE related, but main roster related.
No. Ask us anything you want, but be prepared for the biggest, most colossal disappointment of your life when you realize, oh man, we call the show Marks on Commentary.
Yeah, we're shitty at it.
Did you watch that show? I didn't even know that show existed, man. Shit. Our listeners, our viewers are smarter than us. Fuck. I need to go on more wrestling boards and tell people to eat cock. That's what I need to do. Hey, just call this guy up. You're a fucking loser. Fuck you.
No, but you know what? I was standing in the WrestleMania line, and I hate super marks without question. Because, like, there's a guy standing there, and he's like, oh, I fucking hate the show. I don't know why I bother fucking come. You should have gone to the fucking Dragon Gate show over fucking Brookline or whatever. Nobody here fucking knows who John Mollix is. You know who John Mollix is? You know who John Mollix is? And I'm just like, it's fucking Dean Ambrose, dude. Are you fucking, like... I just hate people who just like, yeah, I don't even like this show. This show's for fags. I don't even care. And it's like, why the fuck did you bother coming?
They're everywhere, though, dude. I mean, as soon as you start saying that, I'm just picturing hipsters. Hipsters galore just fucking making up names of bands and being like, have you heard this band? No. Well, fuck you. I'm in the inn. Good for you. I actually listen to good fucking music. Like, for all I know, you could have fucking made that. That could be your band. Have you heard of this band? Are you in it? Is that why you're asking me? Are you in it? Yeah, I don't... Change the name from Marks on Commentary to Guys Talk About Wrestling. I don't know.
Guys talk about WWE.
Guys talk about kind of watching wrestling at times.
In 90s wrestling.
Marks on Nostalgia. That's what we'll call it. Remember a time when Jake the Snake was the fucking tits dude? That was awesome. You're listening to Marks on Nostalgia. That show would probably do just as well, but then somebody would mention like the Mountie or something. I'd be like, you know what, you son of a bitch. I don't want to talk about the fucking Mountie. Yeah, we should strictly keep this. All right, if you want to send us a question, it has to strictly be between the time frame of 96
and 2005.
Yeah, 2005, parts of 2007, a little bit of 2010. Let's forget
anything CM Punk related.
Let's forget the Nexus even happened. I admittedly was talking about fucking Ryback on the show. Forgot he was even Skip Sheffield. We'll forget about that. How do you people even watch us or listen to us without being like, you guys suck? You guys are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I just crushed Jason's confidence.
We're trying.
We get our first fucking question on Twitter and we're both just like, fuck.
Shit.
You know what? Fuck you. That's why.
You want me to type that to him? I'm typing that now. Fuck you.
I don't even... No, because we're going to lose the only active Twitter user we have. It's bad enough I'm getting.
Yeah, but at least he'll talk to us.
Oh yeah, fuck you. He's gonna be like, you know what, you guys, your show's not even that good. You don't know what the fuck you're. I'm gonna start my own show, and then 12 million fucking viewers or listeners later, we're just
I'm sending it.
You know what?
Fuck
If you get our fucking Twitter account suspended again, like I even act like I use the goddamn thing. You cannot contain my rants at 140.
I'll have to go to like MO commentaries 2 or 69 or 316.
God damn it, Jason! We're in Roman numerals, so you stop pissing off Twitter. At least he's on top of this shit. I will have friends ask me, "Oh, dude, best question ever. So did you see what was posted on the Marks on Commentary page?" "Oh yeah, that's right. I'm on that show." Shit, I don't even know what Jason's posting anymore.
I try and pick interesting shit when I'm at work to, highlight other people's days.
I just forget about these things. Like, I'm so lost in my own little fucking universe lately that I'm just like, what? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm in on that. Undertaker, Kane against The Shield SummerSlam. That was the other thing that I was reading about. No, not into it.
Not feeling it.
No, I'm not into that at all. I love Kane, Daniel Bryan. Break him up. Put Daniel Bryan. Because now they're saying that Ziggler, and this could be a fucking work, but they're saying that Ziggler may have a concussion. Which now they're calling into question. Oh shit! We have a world champion who's concussed, and Extreme Rules is next weekend. What the fuck do we do?
Yeah, are we gonna call? Well, not even that. And it's like, never mind that the next pay-per-view. What is that? The CM Punk pay-per-view in Chicago?
Yeah, Payback.
Oh, okay. Because it's like, if Ziggler's out still, like you got a really thin roster. Because Brock's gonna go, Triple H is gonna go away. Like, those are your headliners for essentially, but. It's going to be a real fucking thin roster. You know what? This is like, all right, you want to push these part-times on us for fucking so long. Now it's coming back to bite you in the ass because you don't have anybody. Taker's out. Brock's out. Triple H should be out. Punk's going to be out. I mean, Rock's gone. Your fucking 3 main events. There's one guy left, and he's got a fucking ankle injury.
You know what? This is right around the time when I'm going to tell our Twitter question there. You send your guy up. Let's get your guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck he is. Let's get your guy. I'll take your word for it. The Hawaiian shirt and the hat, I'm sold. This is why I don't work for WWE Creative. Hey, why don't you use this guy? I don't know. What's he like? Hawaiian shirt, funny hat. Sounds brilliant. Think he'd be World Heavyweight Champion? We could do that for him.
Watch he be, and this guy come back and be like, remember how you told me to fuck off? Yeah, that guy's the fucking main event of WrestleMania 31.
Jason's not even trying anymore. Oh, yeah? Well, shut up. Jason's going to cry loudly. Big man tears after this episode. And to think, as bad as I thought our last show was, it was actually, there's a lot of great key points to it.
Yeah, we started making a lot of points. I don't know if you still have it or not. Maybe we should put it up. But I don't know.
We're trying, all right? This is a whole thing lately. We had a studio. We looked good. We sounded smart.
We might be back soon. There's things in the works, so. I'm trying.
Jason just teases shit. Oh, there's stuff in the work, and it sounds professional because of what he does for a living. If I say, oh yeah, shit's in the works, people are just looking at me like, he just sits home and jerks off. That's what's in the work. Is that he's gonna be like, oh yeah, I got this great idea. It's coming. It's coming. No, it's not, Eddie. You're gonna go home and you're gonna drink bourbon and you're gonna jerk it, and that's all you're working on, isn't it, Eddie? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Like, I'm not. It's hard because I'm not super enthused about this pay-per-view because, I mean, Triple H Brock. I thought the Office segment was pretty badass. I actually really enjoyed that. That was one of the highlights to me. As Jason pointed out to me when we were talking on Facebook watching it, Triple H pointing out he doesn't give a shit about his employees. Very subtle, but Jason picked up on it. It's not making me ecstatic about the pay-per-view match. Again,
it was a nice segment, and that's the highlight of the feud so far.
Well, what we tried to talk about on the previous recording that, we had the Deep Six was these are two big guys. I mean, the cage, there's not a lot of give to it, and they're not aerial guys. They're strictly brawlers. Like, I would say, they're kind of technicians, but no, they're strictly brawlers. So, I mean...
I'm trying to think, is there an equivalent, like... big guy match in a cage like before? Like,
the only one I mentioned when we last discussed this was JBL Big Show. I mean, it was interesting because it was a gimmicky match because they had the barbed wire over the cage, And, Big Show had that high spot where he chokeslams JBL through the ring. JBL rolls out under the apron, and bam, he wins the match. Like, that was pretty cool. But really, it's big guys are a tough sell. I mean, I thought the Henry Big Show match was pretty interesting in the Hell in a Cell, but there weren't a lot of big spots for that match. It was essentially two big guys with a giant fucking steel cage around them. That was it. I mean, just because you put something around... If you want to make it fucking interesting, bring back the Punjabi prison. Put Brock Lesnar and Triple H in the Punjabi prison.
Kennel from Hell, man.
I see your Kennel from Hell, and I put the Punjabi prison over it.
All right, I see that. I read you the Ready to Rumble cage.
You know what? We'll combine all three of these things, and essentially what we'll have is not a match. We will have an obstacle course.
The Punjabi Ready to Kennel from Hell? I don't know.
Ready for Hell match. And then they'll hang from poles, and the different cages, they'll hang the orange tags from Family Double Dare. And every time you get through another... And Mark Summers will be the guest announcer. I've already buried this pay-per-view simply by displaying the brilliance.
The match you just described, though, would... I would pay for that pay-per-view.
Even if the pay-per-view was literally like 45 minutes of Brock Lesnar and Triple H stumbling around like 8 or 9 different cages, and having to stick their arms up, fake noses, pulling out orange flags, or what? Maybe just hide weapons inside things, like,
The winner gets the aggro crag.
That's how they just bury the WWE title. It's just like, we came up with an even better title. This one has more bedazzle to it. It's literally just a giant fucking diamond with the WWE logo scratched into it. I don't know. I'm not in now with Ziggler potentially being concussed, not being concussed. Like, the triple threat match is kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm over Swagger and Del Rio. Great. Ryback and Henry are in that strap match. Awesome. Like, what the hell else is there? I mean, I didn't even... Two of the best wrestlers of their era, Triple H and The Rock, did the strap match at Fully Loaded. They didn't need the strap. I actually thought the strap kind of ruined the match. Like, they've had better matches, and they could have had a better match at that pay-per-view if they didn't have the fucking strap in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean,
if they had, like, do you remember the Luna Sable one where you had to touch all 4 posts? That's, I guess, like an old school rule. Like, they should bring that back.
Well, actually, I was just going to mention the bull rope match at Great American Bash with Guerrero and JBL.
Oh, yeah.
That was an insane fucking match because it had that fucking chair spot where JBL fucking cracked Guerrero so fucking hard in the face, dude. Like, it's actually kind of makes me see how much fucking blood is pouring out of that dude's head. I'm not trying to glorify violence over here, but for certain matches, big spot, and you can't do it because, if Ziggler legitimately is concussed, there's a reason why they don't want him to wrestle, because they take that seriously. Hence why you can't do headshots with the chairs anymore. You get fined. Triple H and Taker at technically their second Mania match, not the last one they did, but the one before that, they got fined because Taker took a fucking chair to the head. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I always get really bummed out post-Mania because the summer is usually like the lull for a wrestler, or specifically WWE. They go into kind of like a lull.
Yeah, it's the Kmart WrestleMania with SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give them credit. Like, the past few years, they have kind of tried to make it more of an event, but it's usually one match that saves the show. And I don't know. I don't know what that match is this year.
Again, it's hard because we're not always going to get, Punk. We're not always going to get like the summer of Punk. We're not always going to get that. And you don't want to be that guy that always expects that, and that's the only thing that's going to save wrestling is, because then it's cookie cutter at that point. Like, that genuinely came from a real place, so you don't want to sully it by always all right, who's the most indignant guy in the fucking locker room? Ryder, you're up. Air your grievances, young man. Because it's not going to come from a genuine... Yeah, well, in Ryder's case, it may come from a genuine place, but nobody gives a shit because they're just like, fuck you, Ryder, go away. And because fans are turncoats. Everybody loved that fucking guy. Now everybody fucking buries him on, dirt sheet boards and everything else. Like, they just don't care. They think he's whiny and needy now. And it's like, holy fuck, like, your attention span... Don't get me wrong. I loved Ryder as the guy that was trying to fight for his own, the whole do-it-yourself mentality. I've always thought the character was fucking stupid, but I was always behind what the man who played the character was trying to do, and he was quite successful at it. At this point, I don't. Again, I just say it again. Ryder TNA. that may be it for you, man.
That's your best hope.
Yeah, and when that's your best hope, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. maybe they'll do something with him, but I'm not counting on it. In terms of Dean Ambrose, the sooner the better. Break up the Shield. Get him in the main event. He already had that match with Taker, and he buried Taker, and that's the whole idea of like they did that to write Taker off TV, so he'd come back for his revenge against the Shield, hence teaming him up with Kane. But that's even if Taker's feeling it. He's got these surgeries coming. Like, you don't even know where he's going to be physically a few months, because it's fucking May. SummerSlam's in August. You don't have a lot of time. And I mean, they already jumped the gun with Triple H and Brock. That was supposed to be SummerSlam. So what's your big summer? If SummerSlam is essentially your summertime Mania, what the fuck are you going to use it with it? Like, what are you going to do with it?
I'm hoping Punk, Brock. That's my hope. I want to see that. That's like the fan match I want to see, because I think that could be good.
Honestly, I'm kind of with you there. When playing off the fact that he walked out on Paul Heyman, who that was his guy, and Heyman is obviously right back in Brock's corner. If you put those two together, man, that could be the best way to turn Punk face, is to have him come back looking for Heyman, and Heyman being like, "Fuck you, you walked out on me. This is my guy, and this has always been my guy." Create some tension between Heyman and Punk, because as much as we all love Heyman on TV, that guy just gets so much fucking heat. Despite the fact that we all know he's a fucking genius and we love him, that guy gets a lot of heat. So Punk basically being told to fuck himself by, he's a Paul Heyman guy. His guy telling him to go fuck yourself, and Punk basically being like, "No, fuck you. I'm going to take out your guy." You have Punk fucking take out Lesnar. As much as the marks are like, "Oh, fuck you, that's no, it's not realistic." It's realistic if he takes a fucking weapon and beats him down with it, and the idea is not to win the match, but basically, "Hey, Heyman, fuck you. You don't want me back? I just took out your guy. Now you need
I would love to even see if it came from a place of like, I was under your tutelage. I focus on being the best in the world, and I lost to Rock once. I lost to Rock twice. I lost to Undertaker. I need to prove I'm the best in the world. Let me go after the biggest, baddest guy I can find. You're it."
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I think that has a lot of buy rate potential, because the thing with Punk that's really cool is that he's so fucking versatile character-wise that when Punk goes bad guy, you fucking hate him. You absolutely hate him because he's a dick. When Punk goes good guy, you love him because he's funny as hell.
And he's a dick.
Yeah, and he's a dick. So, I mean, just... If Punk comes back, man, yeah, I'm right with you. I say fucking go after the biggest guy you can. And right now, like, Lesnar doesn't really have much with the fans. We all know Lesnar. We all thought Lesnar was fucking awesome. He's another one. He's a part-timer. He's not fucking really doing anything. And honestly, like, who the fuck cares if he beats Triple H or Triple H beats him? I mean, Triple H still runs that fucking company, and Lesnar's still getting paid. So, again, where's the drama in that? Like, what's at stake? And
Lesnar's already getting the win. Is there anybody that doubts that? Like, you're not going to go 2 years at the same pay-per-view getting the loss. You're not going to go... Because there's no... If you prove that he's worthless and can get beat by everybody, then what's the point?
Well, because now he's no longer the big scary Lesnar that walked into the company and ultimately took his ball and went home. Yeah. And I kind of feel like there's still that, you sold out, fuck you, Lesnar, sort of investment or, detachment or whatever from the fans. Because when Lesnar came back, don't get me wrong, I marked the fuck out like everybody else, but I still remember watching WrestleMania 20 and being like, dude, fuck this match. Like, Goldberg's leaving. Fuck him. I don't even like Goldberg. Lesnar's fucking leaving. And it was kind of like, well, fuck you too, Lesnar. Like, I know you want to try different things. Like, all right, go after a football career. And he did have a successful MMA career, but it was like, you come back and, if I'm you, I'm coming back with like, no, don't fucking bury me. Like, I fucked up. Like, I fucked up big time, and I lost the fans' respect. Help me get it back so that, honestly, you can have a bad guy. Like, for the longest time, The Miz is your bad guy. Fuck you. Like, The Miz is not a fucking bad guy. The Miz is a cock. Like,
he's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's I don't give a fuck guy.
Yeah, I'm
sick of this act.
Yeah, he's just a pain in the fucking tits. Like, all right, slap him around a little bit and get him the fuck out of here.
There's a difference between annoying and fucking hatred. Hatred, you will pay money to see this guy get his ass kicked. Annoying, it's like, I'm not even going to bother watching.
Case in point, pretty much all of 2000 with Triple H. I hated Triple H so much. I wanted to see that guy get his fucking ass handed to him by anybody. Even people like Mick Foley, who you knew could not get the job done. You were just like, fuck it, Mick, take his ass out. And it made you fucking mad when he beat the fuck out of Foley because, again, Foley has never been a real athlete. Like, he's never been the best in shape. But Foley's always been so goddamn likable that that's what I miss right now is there's no one really around who's so likable that when they get their ass kicked, like, you almost want to cry when they get sent into quasi-retirement because you're like, why would you do that? Like, but then there's... Jay's in the Twitterverse right now, but then there's a guy like Triple H who was like, you wanted that guy to get like polio or something because you're just like, no, I want that guy to get some sort of like degenerative like muscle disease so he doesn't have that title anymore because he's a fucking dick. Which of course I don't really mean. I'm just saying that's the kind of investment I want out of wrestling.
Yeah.
And right now I'm just not feeling it. I'm pro Ziggler, so I mean it's like. I want to see Ziggler fucking stop jobbing everybody. I want to see fucking people job to Ziggler for once. You know, and it'll probably never happen because the guy's so fucking good at what he does that somebody actually joked on one of the message boards that he's such a good fucking worker that he even jobbed to a doctor. So it's like, you know, I don't know. That's kind of
he'll get there.
That's kind of where I'm at with Mark's on guys who talk about wrestling commentary thing this week. I don't know. It's just it hasn't really been, and this is for me. This is like the worst time for this company because you come out of Mania and either Mania is gonna fucking amp you right the fuck up for the rest of the summer, or it's just gonna fucking bore the shit. Like Mania just did not pay off this year for me.
Yeah,
personally.
it was a lull. Like it's a transitional WrestleMania. They put so much into last year's, and you got to hit number 29 to get to 30. So. But I was expecting more. I said, you know, they're in New York, technically. Well, not really, but it's a New York show. Like, you bring your A game to a New York show, and set looked good. You know, I guess your main event was
the fuck out of everyone's view.
Yeah, I guess your main event was a main event caliber, not necessarily something I wanted to see, but it was on that caliber. But the rest of the show just, I don't know. Aside from Punk and Undertaker, there really wasn't anything stand out from that fucking show. So,
well, I once joked to Jay that we should perhaps do a contest or a little game called Outsmart the Marks, and that's essentially what happened with our Twitter guy here.
I apologize to him. I said I didn't mean to say fuck you.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Jason. This is why I told you not to say it in the first place. You're the Happy Gilmore of this show. He gets all fired up, he does something stupid, and then he's over there offering massages and like, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't mean it.
Please don't go away, our only fan who doesn't listen.
Hey, at least we're honest about how fucking desperate we are. Actually, Jason's honest about how desperate he is. I'm honest about how just like, yeah, that's cool. I like it.
What? Twitter has 400 some odd followers now? That's good.
I think it's just because it's not that I'm indifferent. It's just that, you know, anytime I've obviously, you know, I've done podcasts in the past. If we had like 20 listeners, like we went from like a show that had like 100 listeners to like, then we went down to 50, and then it was like, what the hell happened? That's like you do a different podcast. It's like, how many people listen? 20 people. So then it's like, dude, we got like 400 some followers. I'm sorry, what? That's a thing? That really happens? People follow it? What are we telling them? Are we offering them free beer and blowjobs? Like, Jason, what are you doing? Are you soliciting, like, is this human trafficking? Are you like telling them I'm going to do things to them?
Yeah, that's how I court them into liking the Facebook page. Like, you know, Eddie Brophy from Mark's on Commentary, if you like this page, he will fillet you.
Meanwhile, they're looking at me being like, oh, birth control face? Fuck. I'm just going to like it just out of sheer pity. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call it. That was Mark's on Commentary, the podcast. Guys who talk about WWE, the podcast. I assure you, next week we will probably be just as eccentric and a little less indifferent. I'm Eddie Brophy, so you don't have to be. This is Jason Smith. I see. I won't even let you do your line. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go
you
on.
cut me off.
Oh, do your line.
I'm going to tell you what I told this guy. Fuck you. I'm Jason Smith.
I approve, actually. I like that because that's less of like that Happy Gilmore thing. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys next time.